Straight line personal development. Today we want to talk about why linear growth breaks and true evolution spirals. I make it even easier. We want to build our own character in our life. We have goals we want to achieve. We have pictures we want to materialize, but something stands in the way. So something is preventing us to become the person who is capable of achieving these goals. Or we are in the middle of this process, but we want to do it faster. We want to accelerate it. And this video shall give you an insight what is important and how you can use this straight line personal development model to accelerate your growth, that you become especially more integrous and more conscious in order to be that person who's capable of achieving the goals you listed and imagine. Really important. That is part three or chapter three out of a first bigger series. I highly recommend if you didn't watch chapter one and two yet, please, before you watch this video, watch chapter one and two because this video is building up on chapter one and two. If you just watch that, you will learn something, but you will not get out of the same value out of it in comparison if you watched chapter one and two. Okay, let's dive immediately into it. So let's imagine we have the present self, that is your present self, and your future self. And between your current, your present self, and your future self, there's a gap. And the idea is that we fill this gap. That is what I'm doing with my clients. So my clients are coming to me and they present themselves in front of me with their present self. And then they tell me, hey, Tom, I want to grow personally and consciously. I want to decode my mind and want to rebuild myself in order to become the person who's capable of achieving that and that. So that's how I then start to work with my clients. I identify the gap, and that's what we want to do here. You can identify your gap because the whole topic of personal development is often not graspable. It's often really difficult to see it linear because we're not linear beings, right? But we're living in the linear realm, so we can use linear tools to make it more easier that we can build our character. And that is my work, who's serving as a kind of vehicle for this transformation. And I really recommend you every time you consuming the content from me, even though it's the podcast or it's YouTube, imagine yourself with your present self and ask yourself, how does your future self look like? And you can go through the same process all over again every day. So you stay like you wake up in your present self and you want to become your future self in the evening. So you can ask yourself, how is the gap looking like and why is there a gap? And then you can use the content you have for free to start accelerating your process because it's the vehicle for your transformation. So let's zoom in a bit. Let's just assume we have a straight line, and this straight line represents the gap we have to fill in order to become our future self. And it's not just like honey and butter, it's not easy. We can just walk straight. No, life is coming, and life is coming with challenges and crisis, especially right now in November, the Scorpio time. The ones who know, they know. We can't just walk straight. Yeah, some unexpected things are happening. We can't do anything. Life is crushing. The wave of the universe is coming, and we kind of get away from our straight line. And then we have to work to find our way back on the straight line. And that's what we're doing here. So, the idea is that we learn how to master the challenges, how to become a more resilient person, that we can solve the challenges life brings to us to get our way back to the straight line. And with every challenge we're mastering, we're coming one step closer to our future self. And again, we can take a look on this philosophy out of a macro perspective if we use your whole life as an example, or we can use it out of a micro perspective that you can go through this process on a daily basis. And what we're doing, we're actually working on the fact how, like a Lego construction system, you know, the toys. Probably you played with Lego too, or Playmobil as a young child. I did definitely, And with a construction, like a building block system, we just have to choose between a range of tools or blocks in order to build our building or our image. It's like a puzzle. So we have to choose which puzzle fits now to make the whole bigger picture more complete. And it's the same with this principle or system of straight line personal development. So we're going to provide tools that you can decide which tool you can use to master which challenge to get back on the straight line. That's how I work with my clients. So my clients, they're on the straight line, they're getting out of the straight line, and then they're searching for tools, and I'm working with them what tool they can use to solve the problem. So, and in addition to providing guidance to help you close the big gap, I help my clients to steadily return to this straight line with specific interventions. And the tools I was talking about, are these interventions. And imagine it's like craftsmanship. In order to build something or repair something, you have your toolbox, and then you choose whatever error or challenge you're having, what kind of tool is suitable and fits the best for you. We do the same with straight line personal development. Examples. Let's just have the example of an amateur boxer. An amateur boxer who wants to become WBC world champion. For example, we take Diego Krasimirov. He's an 8-0 pro boxer. Young guy, 22 years old. Maybe you know him from Mallorca, and I'm working with him mentally and emotionally. And he is a WBC champion youth, but he wants to become a world champion in the future. So he has to go through this process for himself. Or let's say you're working in a 9 to 5 job and you want to become a successful entrepreneur. The same step. You, for example, you're having two left hands and you want to master guitar or piano. Yeah? Every goal you want to achieve, we can decode. Yeah, or we can decode the process through this model. And like that, you understand how life works. And that's really important for me. I'm studying life in order to master principles and tools that help me to understand what to do in order to master what I want to master. It's like a role play game. If you understand the rules of a game, you can learn the rules or you can learn the skills within the rules, so within the limits, to master the game. We do exactly the same. Or another example, let's assume you just have superficial sexual relationships. You fuck yourself around with the with somebody you're meeting in the gym, whoever, I don't know, for example, or you're clubbing, whatever, and you feel like fuck, that's not nourishing at all. It's not integrous. It's like selling my soul. Okay, so you're longing, you're striving for a deep, intimate love relationship. Then you have to go through a process. You can build yourself up in order to achieve that. I hope you get an understanding for what I'm trying to tell you. And it doesn't mean that you don't have to do it like that. It's even though it is value for you, if you start seeing your life, your achievement of your goals, yours solving your problems with this model, because then it becomes graspable and something you have internally you can't grasp. You going to externalize in a metaphor, in a model, in symbol that you can learn that better. That's why Carl Jung, for example, loved to work and study symbols, because in symbols, we get specific information out of it and our subconscious understands much faster. So we can work with that faster. It's the same what we're doing here. So again, I repeat that. Even though if you just get the idea of this video because you did not watch chapter 1 and 2, just that, for example, I don't recommend you, but maybe you do. Then allow yourself to externalize through this model every goal, every process you want to go through, or every problem you want to solve. And you will see it accelerates your growth and it makes things that might seem so far away and so difficult super easy. For example, you're feeling empty and lost as a man. Yeah, you make a lot of money, you got your life, you achieved your goals, but you felt or feeling shit and you're feeling lost. The same with my story. Like if you got to know my story, I was building a big sales company, sales consulting company in Germany with the age of 23 and 24. Got everything I wanted, moved to Dubai, 500 square meter penthouse. I earned 250 grand a month, typical cliche high life, and I felt just lost. I felt empty, I felt not fulfilled, and I felt like, fuck, that is definitely not the sense of my life. So I went through the straight line development process, and now I recreated a life and rebuilt myself with my methodology that I feel fulfilled and worthy. We can do the same. So during this process, we remember who we truly are as a man, or of course as a woman too. We're building again a connection to our authentic essence and therefore to God or the divinity within ourselves. And every different field we're entering in different roles provides a new playground in order to experience ourselves. It's like living on planet Earth but experiencing different worlds. Worlds we shape in our mind. What do I mean by that? Pretty simple. We already talked about the philosophy of ego states, that we have different personality parts inside of us. I recommend you watch the first two chapters that you can build up on that. And maybe you experienced in your life yourself in a way that you have different parts in yourself. They're connected to different goals, different interests. So you're like, I want to do that, but at the same time, I want to learn that, and I want to do that, and that makes me happy. But that makes me happy too, and my resources are limited, so I have difficulties to decide what to go for next. So what we can now use is the model of shaping worlds in our mind, because the reality we're perceiving in the outside is created in our mind. And every person has a new or different perception of reality. It's called constructivism, means we construct the reality in our mind. And for example, if you let's take my life an example. I love business. I love consciousness and psychology. I love MMA. I love music. I love traveling and backpacking. Five different areas. And these five different areas we can identify with five different worlds, because for whatever part or field I am deciding myself, there's a new world with new rules and principles to learn and to master. For example, MMA. I'm doing MMA. Right now, I'm preparing myself for my first amateur fight next year. And diving into this world of mixed martial arts is so different than diving into this world of psychotherapy or of business. Yeah, the universe is always working the same way. So there are same principles, of course, that are connecting every world with each other. But every world has its own rules. So, for example, if I want to be able to do MMA in a cage, I have to adapt and I just can't do the same stuff I do in business. Because if I just do the same stuff I do in business, I can't fight. And the other way around. If I just immerse myself into MMA and fighting sport, I can't do business because I have no fucking clue how to do business. And because of the ego states philosophy, we identify with different parts of our personality that all wants to be expressed. And I eventually will recommend you a book um, in the future that you can read that help you to understand it. Or I do it right now. It's called Lover, Warrior, King, and Sorcerer. It's from the CEO of the Carl Jung Institute. I really recommend you reading it, that you understand or get a better understanding of the concept of having different personality parts and the needs we're having to give every different personality part, every different role inside of us or ego state the chance to express itself. And the expression of the different parts of us is connected to the sense of completeness and fulfillment. So it's important that we then understand we're living on this planet, but whatever we're doing, we can step into worlds, we can play them, we can step out, and we can step in another world. It's like like a role play game or computer game. If you play, you step into the game. If you finish playing, you step out and you step into the next game. And like that, you understand you don't have to get lost in one specific world. You can step out and you can step in the other world. And the more worlds I experience that are connected to the expression of my personality parts, my ego states or roles, the more abundant, rich, manly, worthy, fulfilled, senseful I'm feeling and my life is feeling. And that is what I want to share here with you, that maybe this piece of content is helping you to expand your mind and your horizon and is opening your context, that you realize you're so much more than just one role, just one person, just one character. You can do so many things at the same time, but you have to manage that and you have to understand if you want to play a different game, you have to learn different rules and you have to enter a new world. You can't just play many games in the same mind world. It does not work. Okay? That's really important that you understand that, because that helps you to even use and master the concept of straight line development more and more. But we have to start somewhere. And every man carries a story he doesn't fully know. And that is chapter 4. We're going to take a look at in the next video, called The Mask and the Void, the hidden war between self image and essence. In order to do that, what I just presented you in the last 15, 20 minutes, we have to be aware of who we are. And the more self awareness we're creating, the more we get aware about our own truth, and the more integrous we are, or the more we can build up the level of integrity. And if we build up our level of integrity, we're having more power to master these different worlds and to master the different personal straight line developments to achieve different goals. If you want to dive deeper into integrity, I recommend you the Architecture of Consciousness podcast on Spotify. I just launched a new episode today. It's called Integrity, the Hidden Power of Becoming Unshakable, I think. It's episode 6. Yeah, I recommend it to you. So, and in the next chapter, we're finishing the first series and bringing everything together we were talking about the first 3 chapters. If you liked it, please like it, subscribe the channel. It supports me and this ministry here. And if you have questions, if you have wishes, if you want to talk about Engage, just use the commentary function or just write me on Instagram or an email. Check out the link below. Okay. Thanks for your time and for your attention and trust. Enjoy your day.